Hello everyone, my name is Benjamin. This one will be an attempt to make a video about certain things which relate to protection from narcissistic abuse. For this movie, for this audio tape, I have made a few notes. I also have kind of a strange mood today, so it might not be so that it is probably a good day to make this video here, but I'm trying to be positive and motivated, and let's see if I can present some nice moment here. This information will lead back to the more basics, and here is the following. When you come in contact, where you start to become aware about these forms of psychological abuse, you see first that it's quite difficult to explain and relive this experience and your explanation to your attempt to explain something to someone else, and you start to be wondering what you can actually do about it, and you know that the reason is judging you, that you are yourself the problem. Because you are too ignorant and this and that. And that actually this is also true. It's just the way you look at it, which is of importance. And that is always a double view, because it is about polarity here. The polarity of the good and evil, which is in all of us. Both is in all of us, and also every individual can choose which polarity which he wants to strive for. And in this way we see that if you are getting attacked by a negative pole, let's say a narcissist, then actually you cannot really do something about it. This means that you are actually provoked to act in the same manner. But like in previous video, I have spoken about the fact that if you act like the narc in return, you get angry and you get aggressive, for example, then you are actually as worse as the narc. And what I want to say here is that there is actually not much that you can do against a negative attack, but prevention. You cannot defeat the negative attack in the moment. You can say that is not actually true. If you are a strong person, you can do very much, but there's actually nothing you can do. So you can only prepare yourself against such events. This you do by educating yourself, of course, and by informing yourself. And this leads back to protection. And when it comes to protection, this leads to the strengthening of one's own personality in the first place. we do not really speak about the direct psychological strength of the spirit and the internal character. We speak about more the material part of the personality here to start with. And in this comes the actually performance you have, the manner in which you expose yourself towards the person. It is the manner you are using your language, and etc. The more material aspect is also related to the more spiritual and psychological information, which goes so far as to find us back in a whole lot of terms which relate to psychology and behavior, this and that. I'm gonna sum up some. There is acceptance, there is tolerance and forbearance, which play a role in the, let's say, way of communication towards you and the narc, or just about yourself, how you present yourself for yourself to be confident, to be full of strength. So also in partnerships, the ideas, the naturalities, the psychology, the wisdom between persons, the knowledge which you possess in yourself, the norms and values. This plays a very important role also in the self-protection. These are building blocks of your personality. There are coping strategies. The education plays a very important role. So keep your personality centered and protected. I see I got a message here, so for this I will actually try to prevent that this is happening again, because this leads us away from our thought here. So it's all about, in the first instance, to know the ethics of human behavior. What is normal? What is the culture? What is the traditionality in your way of behavior amongst one another? And I have made a few notes to help myself out. So I will not be directly speaking from my experience, and I'm also single, and some of the notes will be about partner relationships, I mean then woman and man. So overall it's important to have knowledge about ethics and what is normal, and have a healthy behavior and a basic understanding the way you are towards someone else. So there are rules which lead to useful and productive exchanges between one another. You should not just accept everything in your relationship. Also, self-assurance, self-confidence, and knowledgeability are important key factors. But now we go to the hard stuff here, and these are just ideas of partnership. And yes, I have actually translated this a little bit, or derived this a bit from a book It is a book that is written by Edward Albert Meyer and explains about the psychology in relationships. This is not only about man and woman, it's also about partnership on work and friendship relationships, etc. So the first one I see here, and they do not necessarily always directly relate to narcissism, it's far more overall. So first we have to be aware that these conditions are fulfilled more or less before you really do the real stuff, which is the narc there. So when problems and crises slowly but surely becoming ever more frequent and more getting out of control, if they are not clarified and rectified immediately, or at least in the useful period of time, whereby a compromise perhaps is necessary, then relationships or marriages are doomed for destruction, doomed to fail. With the whole thing, it is also necessary that the subjugation or bondage of the male and female partner does not arise, but that personal freedom in every respect is ensured. That is important. Do not be dependent on somebody. If you start to be dependent in your relationship, you lose your... That's not a good point. This means you have no build-up from your own self-education. You have no build-up from your own self-evaluation. You lose your independency, sorry. Another point is, must also not occur that the male or female partner is not willing to compromise, or simply stubbornly and unreasonably insist on a view or position. So here we go in a relationship, and this might already be possibly a narc attitude. Sometimes narcs, they are just stubborn and they like to behave opposite to what is really wanted to join a productive relationship, and they act the other way around. So through such an attitude, no useful and productive exchange of views and no agreement and no understanding towards and for one another can take place. That's important. You have to have certain build-up together. You may not hang or block one another from growing. If you see such in a relationship, this is a sign that it is not sitting good. So act preventively. See what your partner or your friendship, whatever relation, reflects. If your partner is into strife, if your partner is acting unlikely when you are growing, and that is not a good sign. For example, be aware of that, because these signs are really crucial and can help you from a lot of misery. So it is always good then to understand and know that you want to keep your honor and you don't want to suffer a difficulty with leaving. So you can talk, you can separate in honor, and you can follow some rules which make it more easy for you to decide and to finish this decision and go in peace and remain in a certain friendship. You don't have to leave each other in a fight. So another point is it must also not be such that one side simply gives in for the sake of peace and submit and adapt to the demands which or wishes or views, etc. of the other. That's important. You also can use the narc as an explanation. Narcs can actually be unreasonable, and they can actually force you into agreeing on sensibleness or unreasonableness, because they are so aggressive and so forcibly compulsory towards you that you rather want to agree than disagree, because if you disagree, then these guys would actually even turn up more of their volume, more of their aggression. I'm sorry. So you want to prevent that, but it's not the good way to just agree and give in. Do not give in. Hold on the truth, but remain with that. Do not exceed, and do not talk extensively about the truth then, but just try to not give in. That will be something that is very important, because even this behavior is absolutely wrong and leads to misery and to the destruction of the relationship and marriage. So a rude awakening is the rule here, because sooner or later it is deeply ascertained that the idea is wrong, futile, and unfulfillable, because all the things that corresponded to the idea were only a bad game. Disharmony, discontentment, arguments, strife, grief, and sorrow of all kinds are the consequence, which very quickly lead to the breakdown of the relationship towards separation, inevitably, and divorce. So that is that. Another piece of basic psychology is to understand that it is actually good to make a mistake. This goes above all, and this is the following: the errors people commit should not be avoided or condemned, because it's only by committing errors that people can learn from it, and after they have committed a mistake, they will eventually recognize this fact and then try to reflect on it, and they will try to avoid from making the same mistake again, at least not in the same manner. So there you have that there is progress, and where there is progress, people should actually think there should be pensive thought So this asks an effort. It's nothing for nothing. This also signifies that humans must thoroughly reflect on all matters so as to recognize where they are prone to making mistakes and to gather new knowledge which will lead them to success and advancement. And again, success and advancement will be achieved by pensive thought. I am sorry. Here is the following thing is also very important with regards to evolution. No evolution is possible. So no human being has the right. I'm sorry. Without this pensive thought, no evolution is possible. We go over to the following understanding here, very important. No human being has the right to interfere in his neighbor's life or in the life of his next one, when this life goes in line with what is right, to give an order and lawfulness. That is lawfulness. And this also applies in a partnership, because only in this way can the personal freedom be preserved. You see, we are all living together, we're starting relationships, this and that, and it is well respected, and I'm also not your teacher. I am reading certain sentences here, which is a higher psychology for me. I have not lived it, I have no experience with it in a successful manner, so do not listen to my voice, but just understand that here's the following. People are living and they going over to acceptance and this and that, but certain things you should just not tolerate. So these are actually signs you get from your partner, your person, your friend, your loved one, which are informing you that you are on the right way or not, and you should act correspondingly. You can correct, or you can go along with it, or you can take your distance. To dictate is not right, and it is malicious, a malicious intrusion upon the personality's right, as well as a curtailment of free will and free decision making. It is free decision making. The human cannot be judged by his appearance, not by his money, not by his possessions, not by his occupation and hobby, and not simply by his inclinations, and also not by his slimness or obesity, if the IDs pass away. That's important. These are material colors. They are not the thing which you are married with. You are married with the spirit, with its flexibility, with its humaneness, with its joyfulness and friendliness, not with the amount of the wallet of your next one, not with his castle, and not with his beautiful car. I have a following point here. The great value of a human being lays in his mental toughness, in his true, honest, humane, and positive thought and feelings, in the state of his consciousness and psyche, in his attitude, in his virtues, in the true love, as well as in his effective knowledge and that of inner peace, which he can impart outwardly. Alright, that was a nice one. So, we are having a relationship with the spiritual part of the human being, not actually with the material aspects of it. The true value of a human is also based on his inner freedom and harmony, which he also can release outwardly. I have another point. It is also his knowledge and his wisdom, in addition to many other high values, that turn a human into a true human and place him far outside of every idea. Very important. We are far more superior than the thought of another. So nobody should direct his idea upon you. Relationships often come into existence because of dreams that rest on unreal ideas, unfulfillable wishes, and false hopes and fantasy. I'm sorry. Fantasy might also be true. And fanatic expectations go suddenly over. So finally results in strife, bondage, vicious exchanges of insult and scenes of jealousy, etc. Humans irritate each other, harassing till intolerableness. So this is to understand when it comes so far that there are scenes of jealousy, etc., then humans start to irritate each other, harassing till intolerableness. Estrangement and unavoidably comes about if a genuine acquaintance and affinity for one another ever existed at all. There will be a second part of this lecture in the other part of the video.